What's up, guys? Cage here, and today we have to talk about everything surrounding the Microsoft Xbox layoffs. Over 9,000 people got laid off this past week, and there is a lot of information to go over. There is a lot of skepticism. There is now a lack of trust in Microsoft due to this situation, and deservingly so. And honestly, just to be upfront, I'm not here to pull punches with Microsoft. I gave up on Microsoft back in 2013 when they decided to do all the dumb stuff that they decided to do with Xbox One, and they had every opportunity to win me back during that generation. They really didn't, because just the games weren't there. This generation, it took them a while. The games are kind of here, so everything's a game by game basis with Microsoft, but Microsoft does not get the benefit of the doubt with me. Microsoft does not just get defended for the sake of being defended by me. But on the same token, I don't give a fuck about layoffs. Like, yeah, I mean, it sucks that someone loses their job. I get that, the base understanding of that. But I don't know these people personally. A lot of these people have shown that, honestly, they hate me. They hate me. They hate gamers. So, yeah, there's a lack of care when it comes to that. Just genuinely, I'm not one of these fake people that acts like it's the end of the world and we need to fight for the game developers. No, I don't give a fuck about that. All that matters to me at this point is, what is the future of Microsoft Xbox? What can we trust from them in the future, or what can we expect from them in the future? And really, what we lose in the process of these changes happening. Because at the end of the day, 9,000 people don't just disappear and everything stays the same. That's not how that works. Even in modern day, crazy enough. So yeah, I'm not here to be all sympathetic, all that fake sympathy bullshit I've been seeing the past week. A lot of people have been weaponizing, they've been weaponizing the layoffs for console warring. They've been weaponizing these layoffs to have some sort of moral grandstanding, having some sort of moral privilege over other people. Like this. But without further ado, we got to jump into all this news, all this information, and my general thoughts. And really, I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts too. So first and foremost, just to put it out there, apparently Hideo Kojima's project is safe. Basically nothing happened to him or any of that in regards to funding for his project. So that was something that was up in the air, but apparently they're fine. So shout out to Hideo Kojima. Next up though, we have Perfect Dark. That is the most discussed situation here. And there's a lot of controversy around this game. But Perfect Dark has officially been canceled, and the initiative, which is the game development team, they've all been laid off. The studio's been shut down. That's crazy. That's one of Xbox's biggest push studios, really. Perfect Dark was a massive project, according to what everything Microsoft was saying. They just showed off a massive gameplay demo back last year that left a lot of people truly excited for the project. For me, generally, I was kind of skeptical from the jump. When you go from, making I didn't like the character. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like the character. When you go from making Joanna Dark in the previous iteration of the game look like Funko Jensen in X-Men 2 to whatever this was, I wasn't feeling it off rip. Usually when this stuff happens, you kind of get an idea of maybe who's working on the project, but I think that the gameplay looked decent for what it was. I mean, it was still really early. They didn't have a release date. They didn't have anything, it's hard for me to get excited for games that aren't coming out anytime soon. And at that point in 2024, we knew that this game wasn't coming out anytime soon, though the gameplay itself looked pretty decent for what it was. But there is some crazy controversy surrounding this game because it has been put into question if the gameplay they even showed back in 2024 was legit, if it was real, or if it was fake. It was some Anthem bullshit maybe that they showed off. And it's crazy. We have an update. We have some information on that. We're going to jump into that. But here we got from IGN, Perfect Dark Developers says eye-catching 2024 gameplay demo had some fakery, but quite a lot of it was legit. We were rapidly making real design decisions as to not knowingly lie to players. A developer who worked on Microsoft's now canceled Perfect Dark reboot has addressed the claim that last year's gameplay demo was fake and said the glimpse was a vertical slice of the project running in-engine. So the claim that the gameplay was fake is coming from, of course, a Kotaku journalist. But earlier this week, Kotaku writer Ethan Gotch posted on social media that he had been told last year's demo was basically fake. The question of the gameplay demo's legitimacy was discussed in more detail by former Perfect Dark developer Adam McDonald, who now works as a senior game designer at Cuphead maker studio MDHR. It was actually in-engine, McDonald said. I was one of the 3-level designers that worked on it. It worked best if you played it the way the person played it in the video they showed of the demo, but it still worked even if you didn't hit the marks perfectly. There's some fake stuff in it, he continued, and the real gameplay system shown off worked just enough to look good in the video. We were rapidly making real design decisions as to not knowingly lie to players about what the game will be. The parkour is all real. The hacking deception is mostly real. The combat is quote-unquote real in that someone had to really do all that stuff in the video, but it's set up to be played exactly the way it didn't play well if you played it any differently. So, I mean, that's an answer, I guess. That's kind of crazy. What McDonald's is saying then is that there's some nuance here. Like many vertical slices meant for showcases to showcase a project, it's still in development and it was made to work just enough and to give a sense of how the final game would have appeared had the project survived until launch. So it wasn't necessarily fake, but imagine how developers can theoretically just take advantage of us. Like, you could make a game in-engine, and you could just make a vertical slice. Like, there doesn't have to be any infrastructure to the game. Like, they were just saying they were making fucking vertical slices, apparently. It doesn't have to have infrastructure, just has to have this specific area, and you can run through it a certain way and program the, the AI, the characters to do a certain thing at a certain time. Like, you could fake all this stuff. Imagine how many game developers, and I'm saying fake kind of loosely, but you think of how easy it could be to make a game, say in the trailer that it's in-engine, and the only thing that exists is that specific vertical slice that you decided to make for a showcase. Like, I would think any game developer could do something like that if they know their way around Unreal Engine 5, for example. So that just brings more concern to me for the future, not just in regards to Microsoft, but many game developers, because we've seen it all. We've seen it all and then some, right? We've seen how Anthem, when they showed off Anthem for the first time, that entire showcase was completely faked. The game developers themselves didn't even know that was their game. We've lived through some insane times in gaming, and this is why you do not trust any of these people, any of these companies, any of these suits and ties, even the developers themselves. I don't trust any of them, man. You got to prove to me that something actually exists at this point, because what they're saying here, though I wouldn't say it's necessarily fake. I mean, let me know what you think about this. From the details given, do you consider this fake? Do you consider this real? I'm interested to hear your thoughts, but I don't necessarily consider it entirely fake. But it's definitely shady as fuck, to say the least. And if you think other, developers aren't doing this kind of stuff, you're sadly mistaken. So another one here. Rare's Everwild is canceled. Internal email confirms as Microsoft layoffs sweep across Xbox. Why does Rare even still exist? And mind you, Everwild's been a game that's been in development for years. But they said here, an interesting update, in a memo sent to all Microsoft gaming staff and viewed by IGN, Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios, confirmed Everwild and Perfect Dark's cancellation and said the company was winding down several unannounced projects. So not only are these projects that we're talking about here, scrapped, but apparently there's more that we didn't even know existed. All these game developers wasted all this time, and nothing will come of these games that get canceled. And it's crazy because Phil Spencer had said Everwild was like his most anticipated game, and that You know, the game was in development for like 6 or 7 years, something along those lines, right? It is insane that nothing came of this project. I think Rare is one of the worst developers in modern day. And it's sad to have to say this because they were they were on top of the world when we were children. Right? When the majority of us were children or teenagers, whatever have you. You know, they put out some insane games on N64. They're known for some amazing things, but they are just a shell of their former self. The Battletoads game that they put out like a few years ago was fucking hot garbage. I played through the entire game, and trust me, kicking and screaming. They are a complete fucking joke from what we held them up to back in the day. Another sad one, honestly, in my opinion, probably the most saddest one for me, is apparently Romero Games reportedly shut down. Now, John Romero, he's the co-creator of Doom. Like, what are we doing here, man? It is insane. But Romero Games, the studio helmed by game industry's veteran couple John and Brenda Romero, has reportedly been shuttered after the cancellation of its in-development project. Sources have previously indicated that the closure of the 2015 established company was prompted by the recent layoffs of Microsoft Xbox, but one Romero Games employee revealed that the company was closed and that everyone had been let go per the Journal. Reportedly, John Romero helmed developer and its publisher had a meeting the day before this happened, during which there wasn't any mention of such a move being planned by the latter. How fucking disgusting. How fucking garbage of a company Microsoft is. Let's just play pretend with this fucking guy and his studio and his game. Let's, you know, pretendingly hear about what he has set up for us in the future of their game and whatnot, just to shut down the whole team a day fucking later. Oh my god, yo, what a scumbag thing to do. Contrarily, the team was said to have been acknowledged for its great progress on the project. The source further shared that the dev had confidence in the game seeing the light of day. While the scrapping of the game was described as frustrating and something that took an emotional toll on the team, they stated that other ways of funding the project were being explored. So, dude, I hope so. Please let this happen, man. I mean, who knows if the game is even viable? Who knows exactly why Microsoft did this other than to, you know, free up money for other things that we're going to talk about sooner. I don't know the validity of the project, but given we're talking about co-creator of Doom, dude has been involved in some insane shit in his lifetime. I would like to give the guy the benefit of the doubt here. I hope that this can be salvaged. If one thing has to be salvaged, or what I would like to be salvaged, I hope that it's this. Now, another thing that apparently got that scrapped was from Bethesda, essentially, or ZeniMax. Elder Scrolls Online devs' unannounced MMO was doing well and even scaling up as Xbox cancellation blindsided staff, sources say. So yeah, apparently layoffs even happened at Bethesda, but now IGN has learned that the entire team for the MMO codenamed Blackbird has been cut amid layoffs impacting several hundreds of individuals. That's crazy, man. Imagine developing an MMO for a period of time. They said, speaking to multiple sources familiar with the project, IGN has learned that Blackbird was to be a new sci-fi IP, though it has been in development since 2018. Dude, the length of time it was taking to make the game was expected, as ZeniMax was building an entirely new game engine for it. Bro, they were building a whole new engine for this game. And the game has been in development for like 7 years. Microsoft is ruthless. Holy shit. Another team that apparently has been axed is Forza Motorsports team is no more. Former developer claims, with remaining Turn 10 staff left to support the Horizon side. So they've now become a support studio for the Forza Horizon games, which you know, for me, I don't personally care about this. I'm not a racing sim person. I prefer Forza Horizon and At most, I booted up the most recent Forza Motorsport just to see how it looked, but I don't really care about that. But there are a lot of people that love racing sims, and I don't blame you. I mean, you know, that's what you want. A lot of people want is a realistic racer, and Forza Motorsport was one of the biggest ones, you know, with very few competitors out there. And this is crazy. Forza Motorsport developer Turn 10 Studios has been heavily impacted by this week's brutal Microsoft layoffs. Former employees have claimed, reportedly resulting in Xbox's sim racing series being wound down. Former Forza Motorsport content coordinator Fred Russell has stated that the franchise's team is no more, with remaining Turn 10 Studios employees left at the Washington-based company, now focused on supporting the Forza Horizon series instead, which is primarily developed by British outfit Playground Games. Turn 10 Studios was shuttered. That's crazy. Now we have to talk as to the validity of future projects with Microsoft, what we do know exists, and what has been announced just this past Summer Game Fest. And in all honesty, Microsoft had a great show at Summer Game Fest. Obviously, people mentioned some things that were missing from the show, some of which clearly got canceled. But how do we trust a company that announces all these projects and just cancels some of them? Like, and not all the things that were mentioned here were canceled. I mean, weren't officially announced. But Perfect Dark was a highly anticipated game by a lot of people in the community, whether you like the main character or not, whether you like first-person games or not. Like, this is a game that was highly anticipated and got canned. It got completely canned. Everwild, a game that has been, you know, I forgot all about it, to be honest with you, up until it was canceled. But there were a lot of people that I do recall mentioning this game, and that this game has been in development for a long time. Out of nowhere, it just canceled. Like, Microsoft is insisting every game shown at its Xbox showcase in June is safe. But what were the no-shows? But I don't trust this. I don't trust... Dude, do not trust these companies. Do not trust Microsoft. Do not expect any of what has an official release date or release window, honestly, because it's just crazy to see. The thing that you could depend on is obviously your Call of Duties and stuff that's coming out shortly. I don't put any stake in anything they got going on at this point, which is sad to say. It's really sad to have to say that, but you're just showing us games that are never going to come to fruition, and this is kind of rare when it happens. This doesn't happen too often now, but it does happen, and the fact that 2 games here, from what I recognize, that were shown off, just canned. Yeah, dude, I don't trust Microsoft. It says here, in a memo sent to all Microsoft gaming staff and viewed by IGN this week, Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios, said Microsoft still has more than 40 projects in active development, continued momentum on titles shipped this fall, and a strong slate headed into 2026. Additionally, a source told Variety that every game featured in the Xbox Game Showcase presentation in June is continuing on, which means nothing in the grand scheme of things. But guys, why did this happen? Why did over 9,000 people lose their jobs? Because it's more than just, oh, the project wasn't moving forward, oh, this, oh, that. Microsoft seems to be making a massive change, a massive shift to how they make video games, and I'm kind of concerned. Microsoft's 2025 layoffs revolve around its desperate $80 billion AI infrastructure investment. The Red Mound giant has laid off over 1,500 people in 2025, and a report claims that all in the name of freeing up spending money to invest more heavily into AI infrastructure to keep pacing with the ever-growing AI bubble. That is craziness. Oh my God. Microsoft initiated yet another round of layoffs this week, impacting multiple organizations, including gaming, sales, and marketing. Over 9,000 employees were cut on top of the 6,000 that took place back in May. Dude, it's crazy how many people got fucking shafted. According to the report from the Seattle Times, Microsoft is moving to reduce headcount to free up more capital for AI spending. Specifically, the company is looking to invest more money into AI infrastructure and technologies and is making various cuts across many organizations and divisions to fund these efforts. Microsoft's push into AI doesn't mean the company is replacing workers with the technology. Rather, the significant cost of building out the infrastructure over multiple years has Microsoft looking to trim costs where it can. The Seattle Times reports that, goddamn, if you think they're not going to use that stuff to replace people too, this infrastructure is made. Look, infrastructure in theory is always a great thing, right? In theory, you could do all these amazing things, new technology, whatever. But unfortunately, all new infrastructure and technology eventually becomes used to fuck people over. That's just what it is, to get rid of the as many small able-bodied people as possible. Any advancement in technology, eventually, the bottom line was that. Sad to say. That said, a chunk of the roles Microsoft has laid off in recent months were roles that could be aided by AI technology. The company has invested heavily into AI technology and can debug, write code, and is reportedly planning to make AI use mandatory with checks to ensure this conducted its performance reviews. Microsoft has announced that it intends to spend $80 billion in AI infrastructure in the coming year to keep pace with the rest of the AI bubble. This is up $25 billion over the previous fiscal year. In recent weeks, reports have suggested that Microsoft and OpenAI's multi-billion-dollar partnership has become sustained as both companies seek different things. These companies want to get mega ultra fucking rich off of AI. I mean, look at Nvidia. They just make graphics cards at this point to be able to flex that they make the most powerful graphics cards in the space, right? But all Nvidia, in terms of graphics cards and their software, all that stuff, it's in the pits. It's probably the worst it's ever been. And they don't care about what the gamers want, what the consumers want. That doesn't matter at all to them. All they care about is making the insane amount of money they're making through AI. That's been a big deal to them. That has been their complete focal point. It's what's honestly ruining gaming in a lot of different ways. And it's really concerning to me. And I use some AI occasionally for little things, right? For little things that I can't do by myself, but aren't necessarily important in the grand scheme of things. Like I'll get an image for a thumbnail or something. It's not something I would ever pay someone to do, but it's something that I kind of would like to have done for the sake of what I think would make something look interesting or better. But these aren't significant things. It doesn't make the show run or any of this stuff, mind you. But it is helpful as a tool, but it does not in any way control what I do here. But these companies, they will invest all this money in order to, save as much money in the future as possible at the cost of everybody else, which is a struggle. It should be clear that anyone following Microsoft closely that the company has become AI crazed in the last 2 years. Since 2023, Microsoft has rushed to implement AI technology and as many products and services as it can, regardless of whether the technology is ready for mainstream use. Recent layoffs amassed over 15,000 people come as Microsoft signs off one of its biggest years ever physically. So they're making more money than ever before, and they're just axing people. The company has soared ahead of Apple in market cap and is trailing Nvidia as most valuable company in the world, investing heavily in AI infrastructure and products at the cost of everything else is proving popular amongst shareholders. We're headed for crazy times, boys and girls. Crazy, crazy times. And yeah, I'm not the smartest person in the room, but it seems like this AI technology shit is really what's making these dudes maximum profit. We have Microsoft investing in AI, and they're trailing only Nvidia at this point, who's made insane money off of AI itself. And the reality is, whether people want to be honest about it or not, they're going to use this to eliminate jobs, to use in game development. It's going to become a prominent thing from here on out. And a lot of people I see are actually celebrating this, and I get it. We've dealt with so many game developers that are completely bankrupt when it comes to making interesting things nowadays, right? Development teams, overall publishers, they're all creatively bankrupt. They are so fucking bland and boring. They're too scared to take chances. And I understand the general sentiment of, hey, well, if they can't do anything interesting, let's just leave it up to AI to do it, to come up with something interesting. And I get the sentiment, and also the sentiment of, well, these guys hate me, so fuck them. Let AI take their jobs. And I understand that sentiment too. But I don't think that AI is going to necessarily do anything new or anything interesting. It's just going to be as soulless as it is now, or perhaps even worse. And I'm saying this as someone that I hate the industry. I hate the people that work in it. I hate everybody, really, other than the people that give me a good product at the end of the day, right? And that sometimes can be rare. And I mostly look to, indie and AA for a good product nowadays. In the AAA space, I hate all these motherfuckers. And that's just me being honest. But AI is not going to solve the issues that we have with these game developers, with these major companies that are playing it safe. If anything, they're just going to curate this AI to learn how to play safe as well. And AI isn't necessarily going to make anything new. They're just going to copy whatever its programming is. And, whatever's found on the internet, and make that nonsense too. So the reason why gaming sucks from the AAA space is not necessarily the lack of ideas, or even the lack of creative developers. It's more so it's being sanitized. It's being censored. It's these companies, these suits and ties, don't understand what gamers want, and they want to instead tell you what you want, even though it's a complete total lie. So I don't think AI is going to fix any of this, because, well, the AI is still at the mercy of the mega corporations anyway. So that's the struggle there. I understand the little cheap W some people would get from, hey, seeing piece of shit developers that have said fucked up shit in the past get laid off. Like, I think a lot of us would genuinely cheer seeing Neil Druckmann get the fucking boot over at Naughty Dog, because that dude is a major piece of shit, right? And I'm sure that there's a lot of other developers that, yeah, we would definitely cheer seeing them get the boot. But I think that if you look at this in a more open-minded way, this isn't solving any of our problems. And really, it's just going to make some things really harder in the future. I don't work in game development. I don't work in really any space that requires AI, per se. So I'm not really concerned with this, but I'm concerned with what is making my games, what is, in the software that I'm using, and just overall how that affects everything going forward. So that's the struggle that I'm seeing here, man. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think about this all in the comment section down below. I'm floored that they're just saying, well, fuck all these people, we're investing in AI. And I get it, but at the same time, you need people to make video games. That's just how that works. But if you can, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. If you can, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Follow me over on Twitter at Mario Kart if you'd like to continue the conversation. Consider becoming a channel member. It gets you instant access to the Discord. It gets you dope-ass emotes for the live streams every Tuesday and Thursday nights. And yeah, really sharing this out helps me so much. You have no idea. So if you could do that for me, I really appreciate it. Also, turn on the notification bell because YouTube's retarded. And yeah, guys, well, I'll be and send them out. Peace.